the 23rd of July, 2012. This is Capital FM Online TV News. In the headlines, Kibaki tells presidential candidates to forget his endorsement. IEBC defends move to lock out lowest biometric kits bidder. Gikomba traders want directive on duty implemented. And government to appeal suspension of NHIF caretaker committee. Good evening, I'm Victoria Rubadiri. President Mwai Kibaki now says he will not be pushed into endorsing an individual seeking the presidency, adding that the country's leadership will be determined by Kenyans. President Kibaki, who retires early next year, says Kenyans should choose his successor after evaluating the development record of those aspiring to lead the country. In February, President Kibaki ignored calls by ODM leaders to endorse Prime Minister Raila Odinga as the country's next leader to pay back Raila's Kibaki Tosha endorsement in 2002 that saw him get a landslide victory. Several politicians, among them Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka, Odinga, Deputy Prime Ministers Uhuru Kenyatta and Musalia Mudavadi, Cabinet Ministers Moses Wetangula, Eugene Wamalwa, and Assistant Minister Peter Kenneth, MPs Martha Karua, William Ruto, Mutava Musyimi, and former Education PS James Ole Kiapi, have already declared their interest for the top seat. President Kibaki in June denied that he had endorsed Musyoka as his successor after a series of contradictory messages. More recently, there has been speculation that the president had developed a soft spot for Mudavadi, who decamped from Odinga's ODM to UDF. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has defended the rejection of a tender by 4G Identity Solutions to supply the biometric voter registration equipment. Chairman Isaac Hassan told a news conference that the decision was informed by negative information received after the company won the tender. He says the process is above board, denying that the tender has caused a rift within the commission. Hassan says the IEBC will act expeditiously and within the procurement rules to complete the tendering process to ensure a free and fair election. The team appointed to undertake the due diligence on the next lowest evaluated bidder, Systems Integrated Limited, will on Tuesday announce the duration it needs to complete its task. Hassan also says he will on Tuesday announce the dates for by-elections in Kajiado North, Ndihwa and Kangema.
I want to allay the fears that this cannot be a process where somebody can start plan rigging. It can't happen. We are simply preparing a voters register. The voting is yet to come. So I think those fears are misplaced. We want to assure them that the integrity of the process is guaranteed.
Traders at Nairobi's Gikomba market took to the streets on Monday to protest the lack of implementation of reduced taxation on second-hand clothes announced in this year's budget. The traders paralyzed business at the market as they shut down their stalls and marched to the office of Finance Minister Njeru Githai. The irate traders were complaining of poor businesses due to the government's failure to reduce import duty. Embakasi legislator Ferdinand Waititu, who addressed the protesters, called on the police and council askaris not to harass the traders. Makadare legislator Mike Mbuvi emphasized the need for the government to appreciate the critical role played by the traders at the market.
Tuko hapa kwa niaba ya watu wa Gikomba na kwa niaba yao tumesikia vilio vyao, na sisi kama viongozi tunasema tunafurahia ile kazi mnafanya, lakini sisi kama viongozi tunasema polisi wanapewa bunduki kuchunga usalama ya wana Gikomba, sio kuwamaliza.
Attorney General Gideon Muigai says he will appeal against a High Court decision to suspend the National Hospital Insurance Fund Caretaker Committee. The AG says the orders should be vacated since they were made without full consideration of the law. On Thursday, Judge Weldon Korir, in his decision, said the president failed to comply with the NHIF Act in appointing the caretaker committee in May. He says the judge erred by failing to appreciate that the interim committee was created specifically to allow for investigations into alleged irregularities over the 4.3 billion shillings civil servant scheme. The suspension of the interim board was made in a case filed by the Kenya Medical Association, which has challenged the appointment of the board. Full hearing of the KMA case is due on Friday. And that does it for our top stories of the day. Thank you for joining us. I'm Victoria Rubadiri.